SpongeBob was and still is a great show. Patrick was great. Patrick is that element that every show has to have, that lovable dumbass.
Yes.
Fortunately, we don't have that here. Okay, Sunday Night Football.
Jeez.
That was last week. We were having some fun. What? I didn't think you really appreciated or understood the point I was making at the time. A week later, I think you've now, to quote Vincent LaGuardia Gambini, I think I get the point.
Yeah, no, I got the point last week, but it's still a good one that makes me chuckle there a little bit. I mean, yeah, you are a a big dumb animal that's gullible and everything. So we're glad we have you here on this show.
Happy to be here.
Yeah,
happy to be here.
Good.
Very happy today. Very happy today.
Oh, look at you! Look at you!
Oh God,
it's a good look for you. It's an improvement.
I'm Squidward. Thanks. Thank you so much. It is an improvement. I don't know what to make of you as Patrick Starr, but interesting to say the least. So I have no idea how I've gone 26-6 straight up. I have no idea.
Yeah, way to go.
Hardest games to pick are the early games in the season. It really is pulling it out of your bunghole.
Wow.
It really is.
All right. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not pulling it out of my... Maybe that's the way to go. Pull it out your bunghole, everybody. Don't actually sit down and think, because I'm the one sitting down and think right now, and I seem to get my ass whooped at the start of the year every year. And and then I have to make a comeback.
What I do is, here's my method.
Right.
My method is very simple. I sit down, I have an email to myself open, because that's my little cheat sheet as we're doing it, to remind myself of the scores, and I type out the email. I look at the NFL GSIS website that we use that's very good with stats and schedules, and it's all right there, and I just go through each game, and it's like I shut out everything else. And it's like, what do I envision the final score of this game to be? What do I think it's going to be? And I let it flow that way. I try not to think too much about it, but I try not to think enough about it. You just kind of get in a, this is what I think, this is what I think, this is what I think. And I don't worry about, how many times this defensive coordinator's faced that quarterback. Like, you can get yourself all twisted up because you can find something for any game to support that. I remember when the late, great Hank Greenberg would pop onto ESPN with his betting picks, and he'd have these very arcane stats to back up his picks. And I remember thinking, and this is like 30, 40 years ago, I remember thinking, that's just too specific. I mean, if it was that easy to come up with something that finite that you're that confident about, you'd never lose.
Yeah.
You'd find that one thing for every game that you'd be able to say, this is why this team's going to win. And we know that's not the case. So for me, it's pasta and meatballs. And so far the pasta and meatballs.
It's a good. Mama's making a good pasta and a meatballs.
You're not sending it back.
Yeah, I hear you. I try to do a little of that and some of my thoughts. And that's probably where I do go wrong. I get, I'm a little too much lost in the weeds there as far as being into football X's and O's, where it's like your point. I can talk myself out of things just because of certain matchups or something I see that way, right? So I do think that gets me in trouble, let alone, like we know, early in the year here, I mean, teams just don't, like, you won best bet against Cincinnati over Jacksonville. My thought of Jacksonville being the best bet wasn't wrong.
Pure
right,
luck.
Right. I mean, Jacksonville outplayed them. And that's what I think happens early in the year, too, right? Is like you just said, teams are still getting used to, NFL weekly schedule, getting in NFL shape. Because of the training camp and all that, teams aren't executing properly, and that leads to some craziness. So I'm just going to have to keep battling here. But damn, straight up as I always say, straight up and best bets are the ones I want to win. And damn, you're going to make it hard on me in straight up right now, because I got a lot of coming back to do here. Holy crap.
Well, it all came down to Monday night, too. We would have been tied in our straight up competition for the week, because I was up 2-1. If the Texans had won, it would have been a 2-2 push, and the Bucs have that drive at the end of the game to pull off the victory, and that swung it from a tie to me getting a two-game additional lead on top of the 7. So it's up to 9. Stop the count. Here we go.
Nah, we're not stopping it. We're fighting, baby.
Every week this season, you can play along with us. DraftKings has set up once again the free $1,000 Florio and Simms pick 'em pool. Pick every game against the spread for a chance at a $1,000 prize pool every week.
Download the DraftKings app, click on the pools tab, and enter Florio and Simms free $1,000 pick'em pool to make your picks.
This year, the Thursday night games are not included, so you have all the way until Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern or 9:30 starting next weekend to make your picks. So let's get to it. Another week with everyone playing. These early season weekends have 32 games, a lot to process, a lot to think about. And tonight, I really thought it was funny that Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins coach, said that after losing on Sunday, it's a blessing to play on Thursday night. Okay, maybe if you're going to play the Jets, not if you're going to play the Bills in Buffalo. That's not a blessing, that's a curse. The Bills are favored by 12.5. It's the biggest spread of the year so far in any game. And it's hard to imagine the Dolphins recovering from what we've seen so far. And the Bills are on a roll. 49.5 is the over-under. And by the way, Josh Allen here's your Hank Greenberg stat.
Yeah.
He's 7-0 lifetime on Thursdays, including Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, he's tough to beat in prime time no matter what, right? That's what we know. I mean, a 12.5 point spread. It seems like the Dolphins are teetering on disaster. People calling for their heads as Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel, all of that. How can you really look at the play of the football team and be overwhelmed? I know they were competitive last week, but like the Bills, first off, are one of those teams that we have seen right from the get-go that had an understanding of how to stop Mike McDaniel's offense and everything that he does. They were probably one of the early trendsetters to kind of show everybody to go, hey, we know how to stop this, right? We thought Vrabel was that a little last week, but the Patriots defense obviously has a few flaws, especially in the secondary, and we saw some over-the-middle throws and passes that you're like, wait, you don't let Miami do that. Buffalo has an understanding of where the Dolphins want to attack. And then I think the other side of the story is just that Buffalo's offense, it might not always put up like eye-popping quarterback stats, but just like last week, it's Allen makes the plays in the biggest moment where you just go, wait, if he makes this play here, the Jets are in trouble, and he makes it. And so his stats end up 175 yards or whatever, but it's like, no, but every time they needed a play, he made it. And then, of course, their running game is special. And I worry about that with Miami, too. I'm just not so sure how good they are up front. I think it's a tough environment here. I think the Bills are going to be ready to go. I think the Bills are rolling right now. I'm going to go 41-24 Bills.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be the kind of outcome that will put us on who's getting fired watch after the game and into Friday. It'd be an 0-3 start for the Dolphins. 10 years ago, Joe Philbin was fired after a 1-3 start, won in week 1, lost 3 in a row, blown out by the Bills along the way, and ultimately fired. A point Omar Kelly of the Miami Herald made earlier today that I think makes a ton of sense. You'd rather give Mike McDaniel until Monday of week 4 to see how the team responds if they lose badly tonight. You have extra time to get ready. What can you do at home in prime time against the Jets? Because maybe they could rally. If you lose that one, then maybe you make a change. The problem is you've only got 5 days until your next game.
Yeah.
If you fire McDaniel on Tuesday.
Right.
This is the longest stretch they're going to have until their week 12 bye to make a transition to someone else, and that has to be a factor. So I've got 35-20. We're on the same page. What was yours again?
41-24. And Thursday night scares me.
So we both have the cover.
This is one that definitely is like alert for a big bet. But Thursday night, as we've seen so many times in our history picking this game, yeah, it's a few days of preparation taken away from one team. Right? It can be. We got a team that's desperate. We don't know, but it's Thursday. You don't know how beat up players are still and trying to recover from last week's game. There's a lot of factors here. Definitely is. I know what Mike McDaniel was saying and the fact that he's glad they're playing Thursday because they at least mentally can move on from last weekend. We'll see. I'm still sitting here saying I don't think Mike McDaniel deserves to be on the hot seat. I'm going to continue to say that. To me, there's things that have been done there that are above and beyond him, and it's Chris Greer to me is the number one problem. They went to the playoffs, right? Went to the playoffs, almost went to the playoffs. We know they have a quarterback that doesn't stay healthy, and they've had one of the most exciting offenses in football the last few years with Mike McDaniel. To me, that doesn't match up to fire him. There's a lot of other things going on there, but we'll see what happens, Mike. We know how this league is.
One other thing Omar said that is worth mentioning. He doesn't think Greer gets fired. He thinks, if anything, he gets reassigned because he knows where the bodies are buried as it relates to defending Brian Flores litigation. So maybe Greer ends up in some other job if there's a major change coming out of this game. But, Omar's opinion was if it happens, it's going to hit both of them, not one or the other. Okay, we move on to Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern time. Atlanta Falcons at 1-1 take on the Carolina Panthers, who are 0-2, over under of 43.5, with the Falcons favored by 5.5. This one made me a little nervous because you go on the road against a division rival. You never know what you're going to get. The Falcons were flat in their running game week 1. They figured it out in week 2. Can they sustain that momentum? Who do you like?
Yeah, I like the Falcons, obviously. There's two things about the Falcons, right? First is I don't think the offense has hit its potential yet. I mean, it's still early on in the Michael Penix Jr. lifetime here. I do still have some questions about the offense overall. I think it's been a while since it's looked really top-notch as far as run game, pass game, everything there. I mean, again, people can watch Sunday Night Football last week and go, wow, I just was expecting more sexiness from that pass game. I don't know if it's overly creative. That's the next thing I just would like to see from Atlanta. But they can run the ball, and Carolina can't stop the run at all. I mean, if they're not the worst in football, they're down there towards the bottom for sure and stopping the run. That's not a good recipe. And then you got Bijan Robinson running the ball, and we know, oh, gosh, there's going to be holes, and you can run against this team. Yeah, you better watch out because Bijan Robinson, he misses one thing. He can't go 60 and 70 yards to the house, but he will make more of the greatest 8 and 10 and 15-yard runs you will see in football. He's awesome to watch that way. And then I think you got to pile on the other aspect of this is that Atlanta's defense under Raheem Morris, right, and Jeff Ulbrich, that it's one of the best in football right now. They're fast. They're well coached. They got young talent popping right now. And against an offense like Bryce Young, who always seems to turn the ball over early on in the football game, and they can't make big plays in the pass game, and the offense is so much work. Yeah, definitely going Falcons 27-17, Mike.
All right, you got the Falcons winning and covering. I, on this one, am going with the needle thread. Falcons 23, Panthers 20. I just feel like this is one of those
desperation.
When you're 0-2, there's a higher level of desperation. You've talked about how that pressure ramps up as you start piling up early season losses. And I feel like the Panthers are going to maybe empty the tank, a trick play. I don't know, but there's going to be a higher degree of we got to have this one from the Panthers, which, in my opinion, allows them to keep it close, but no cigar. Falcons 23-20. You mentioned that defense. Look at how they bedeviled the Minnesota offense on Sunday night. I think they do the same thing to Bryce Young and company. And that narrative that, Bryce Young's finally figuring it out just because they didn't get blown out consistently down the stretch last year, that's evaporated more quickly than any other take heading into the 2025 season because there's still a long way for the Panthers to go. Yeah, they made it interesting in Arizona, but they still lost, and they're 0-2. Okay, Packers at the Browns. Packers get a little extra time to get ready for this when they're favored on the road by 8.5 points with an over-under of 41.5. The Browns will wear their brown helmet, which is fitting because when Micah Parsons is coming your way, you're going to shit down your leg. So
you're funny.
Will the Browns keep it close? Could the Browns, who only lost by 1 point to the Bengals in week 1 at home, could they pull off an upset?
Yeah, the Browns are scary because of that defense. And we just talked about the Falcons' defense being, really good, number 2 defense in football. This is Cleveland, number 1 defense in football versus Green Bay Packers, number 3 defense in football. This is one where, I'm picking Green Bay to win the football game. Yeah, I think Green Bay through 2 weeks has played better football than anybody in the NFL. So, I'm coming into week 3 going, right now, they're the best team in the league. I know, you know what I'm saying. They're playing the best football in the league. Cleveland, the defense, I certainly could think they could give Green Bay problems. I mean, you could see they can cover people. They crowd the line of scrimmage, right? So they're going to feel comfortable, especially like in Green Bay right now where, there's no Jaden Reed now. I think that'll embolden Cleveland to get in the face and play more man-to-man and do some of the crazy stuff they do with their front seven. So that aspect, as much as I think of the Green Bay offense and LaFleur, there's one side of me that goes, wait, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough here with Cleveland. There's another aspect of me that this is where I go back and forth a little bit, this one, where I go, man, Like, if they can figure out how to block all the craziness up front, the way Green Bay drops back to throw the ball and how aggressive they are and everything of that nature, right, that could lead up to some big pass plays and things of that. So that's where I go a little bit with how much they win by. I've gone back and forth here. All right, now the other side of the ball is where I'm worried for Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland's offense, Joe Flacco against this Green Bay defense. I mean, we just know they can make some plays. It's a good little offense. They got something there, but is it like overly dangerous? No. And I think Green Bay right now with that extra juice from Micah Parsons and all of that is kicking ass and feeling themselves right now. I've gone from Packers 21-13 to Packers 27-13, and then I erased it and wrote Packers 21-13, and then I wrote Packers 27-13 again. I'm going to go with the 27-13 one, even though I certainly could say I thought about threading the needle because I could see them hanging around and making things tough. But where I think ultimately it'll happen here is just that, Cleveland's offense will make a stupid mistake that'll widen the lead for Green Bay at some point. So I'm going to go 27-13 Packers.
24-9 for me. The one thing that makes me nervous, Quinshon Judkins, who was supposed to play 10 or 15 snaps last week, he had 20. He had 13 touches in his 20 snaps, had 70-plus yards from scrimmage, and this week they moved him up to the starting position on the depth chart. And, of course, Coach Kevin Stefanski said, well, PR does that. Okay, fine. It's still the team's official depth chart, and PR's not doing it unless they're getting a pretty clear indication that number 10 is now RB1. Can Quinshon Judkins take enough steam out of the pass rush with the running game?
Yeah, sure.
That's going to be a key to this. And keep it close, shorten the game, get the Packers defense on their heels. I just ultimately don't believe at the end of the day it's going to work out. And it just shows you the fact that you flip-flop between 21-13 and 27-13. One's not a cover, one is. It just shows you how easy it is.
Right. That's when I looked at the spreads, I was like, oh, gosh, here I am right on the line. I don't know what to do here. So it's one where I kind of want to pick the Packers to be a best bet, but I feel like I'm a little scared just because of that Browns defense and how they can hang around and linger.
Texans at the Jaguars. Houston is 0-2 against elite teams. The Jaguars 1-1. They beat the Panthers week 1. They almost beat the Bengals week 2. The Texans desperately need a win. There's a lot of chatter about the offense. C.J. Stroud has said some things. There's been some analysis of what's really going on there. Is the offensive line really any better? Jaguars favored by 2.5 in this one with an over-under of 44.5. Who do you have?
I'm still a believer in the Jaguars. I am. And I just can't get behind the Texans anymore. Yeah, I was hot on them early in the year, but the things that I kind of thought, hey, I'm going to trust this group that they're going to know what they're doing here with the offensive line and the new offensive coordinator, that it's going to work. They've played 2 really good defenses, right? That's the thing we got to figure out here. I mean, we know the Rams defense is real. So that's tough. And Tampa's defense is damn good too, and got a lot of pieces that are special there. So that's where I'm not sure how to judge it totally, but I've seen enough on film to go, not quite as creative as I thought. And then, of course, the emergence of a second threat at the receiver position right now is a problem for the Houston Texans. Also, on top of we can't run the football right now. So that's not a good combination. That's what scares me. The Jaguars are playing pretty good defense. The Jaguars can stop the run. The Jaguars' issue has kind of been stopping the pass a little bit. And I feel like because they're playing the Texans and the run game's not that special, they'll be able to contain this pass game here. The Jaguars' offense, I've liked the way it looks. I like the way Trevor Lawrence's look. They're young. They're a new coach. They're trying to figure out how to win. They blew that freaking game last week. Like you said, they got lucky. I think they win this. The Texans defense, the biggest thing I look with them is they're awesome, but man, they're small in the interior. And you've seen in 2 games them get pushed around and people run the ball on them. I think the Jags will do the same thing. Houston's desperate, so they keep it close, but I'm going Jags 23-20 here.
You mentioned the Texans running game. Nick Chubb had 43 yards on 12 carries the other night, and he had a 25-yard touchdown. So you take that out, it's crazy. 11 carries for 18 yards.
Right.
And now there's talk. Now, Todd Bowles, the Bucs coach, wouldn't admit to it, but there's talk that they let him score. So that 25 yards is an aberration. They shut down the Texans running game. This is where the 0-2 desperation factor kicks in. The Texans, despite their flaws, they kept it close against the Rams in L.A. They kept it close against the Bucs and arguably could have / should have won the game. It helped that the Bucs special teams were caca on Monday night. I just feel like this is desperation. Texans aren't going to fall to 0-3. Texans win this game 23-20. I don't feel great about it, but it just feels like this is pasta and meatballs. The Texans have come too far the last 2 years to start 0-3, and someone's going to do something. Someone's going to light the fire, literally or figuratively, in the locker room to get these guys to respond the way they need to and go out and play to their potential and pull off the victory.
Yeah,
okay.
So you're feeling
Battle
week 3 desperation
quarterbacks.
thing is a real thing. You've gotten 2 of these 0-2 teams where you're going, yeah, right.
Because
I feel you.
It really
You're
does
not
start
crazy
to slip
there.
away.
Right. No, I hear you. I hear you. It's an element. I'm going to be interested to see how it goes, too. I'm with you there. It's a real thing. So, but I like how you're playing it, and I hope you're wrong.
All right. Bengals at the Vikings with Jake Browning for Cincinnati, and Carson Wentz, first quarterback in NFL history who will start for 6 different years with 6 different teams. Eagles, Colts, Commanders, Rams, Chiefs, and now the Vikings, the team he grew up rooting for. And as long as I said this earlier, as long as he doesn't throw left-handed from his own end zone, maybe there's a chance. The Vikings are favored by 3 with an over-under of 41.5. Jordan Mason now steps into the starting running back role with Aaron Jones hurt, which I think is actually a good thing for the Vikings in a game like this. So the battle of Browning versus Wentz, who do you have?
Gosh, this is a tight one. It is. And Carson Wentz, how well does he know the offense, right? There's that aspect. You look on the other side and you just go, okay, Jake Browning's been there. He's got some weapons at his disposal. I feel like the Vikings have missed Jordan Addison so far, and we've seen that lack of big-time explosive passing plays there. Carson Wentz has played a lot of ball, though. I do think he fits in this offense. And I guess my big thing here is, Cincinnati's defense, I'm not sure what to think of it yet. I'm really not. I don't think it's all that special. I don't, to where I think Minnesota's going to be able to move the ball. And then I look on the other side of the ball, and I'm just going to bet on Flores and the Vikings putting out a better effort than what they did last week. They got run on badly in the game against Atlanta. I just can't imagine Flores letting that happen. Also, Cincinnati, they've shown no ability to really run the ball at a high rate either. So with that makes me feel like it'll become a Jake Browning passing game. And I think when you got to throw the ball a ton against Minnesota, that's going to be an issue. I'm going to ride the fact of Kevin O'Connell, Flores, everybody here a little desperate, pissed off after the way they played on Sunday night. I think they're going to win this one. Tight one. I'm going to just go 20-19 Vikings.
Okay, so you have the Bengals covering.
Yeah.
And, I had 23-20. Then I saw the spread, and I went 23-21. I was tempted to go 24-20. I'll stick with 23-21. That was my original number. I can see the Bengals performing well because they have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Yeah.
But the big difference for me, Jake Browning has started 7 games. Carson Wentz has started 94 games. Carson Wentz has played a lot of football. And Carson Wentz, I think the combination of the incredibly stupid moments that don't happen constantly, but all it takes is one a month.
Yeah.
Or one every 2 months to make a guy have a diminished reputation. He's got that bad teammate thing that's been dogging him since Philadelphia, and he kind of admitted it when the reports came out. He kind of said, I need to do better. And I just think that he fell out of favor for a combination of reasons that obscure the fact that he can play at a high level.
Right.
That this guy was the number 2 overall pick for a reason. He wasn't accidentally the MVP candidate, leading candidate in his second season before he tore an ACL in December. It wasn't a fluke. It was real. He was spectacular.
Right.
So he's still young as quarterbacks go, and I think Kevin O'Connell can coach him away from doing dumb shit and You combine the running game, you throw in that emotional edge that he's going to have playing for the team that he grew up rooting for. 23-21. I'm tempted to give the Vikings the cover, but I'm going to stick with
I had the same problem. I picked the Vikings 20-17 and then saw the spread, and I gave the Bengals 2 extra points and threaded the needle that way, right? So I fell into the same issue, and I was tempted as well, but I'm going to go but Bengals keep it close.
Steelers at the Patriots. Pittsburgh is favored by 1.5. Over under a 44.5. The Patriots got their first win of the season last week in a game that it looked like they were going to lose. The Steelers somehow blew it at home against the Seahawks. They got out-Steelered by Seattle. Pittsburgh needs this one. This is the last of 3 winnable games before the schedule starts to get a little tougher, although the Vikings game isn't nearly as daunting as we thought it was going into the season. Nevertheless, who do you like? Pittsburgh at New England.
I like Pittsburgh here. I do. No, I mean, it's not going to be a best bet. I'll say that. But I just look at I guess I have faith, or I'm looking that Pittsburgh's defense is going to start playing better football here at some point. I mean, it hasn't been real good so far. The one thing that we thought would be a definite was Pittsburgh defense would be okay while Aaron Rodgers and the offense find their footing and move forward. So far, it's been the opposite. Aaron Rodgers and the offense have found their footing. I got no problem with what they're doing on that side of the ball. I mean, it's been pretty damn effective. And with that, the Patriots defense scares me a little. I mean, and scares me in a bad way if you're a Patriot fan. It's just we've seen, if you have a little bit of an offensive passing system, you can tear them up on the back end. They are missing Christian Gonzalez. They are underwhelming. They don't have the Jimmies and the Joes back there right now, I don't think, to defend some of the better quarterbacks and passing game in football. So Pittsburgh's offense, I've liked that. They keep you honest with the run game. And New England's offense, sure, it's good. I guess I'm not sure how good. It was kind of a stale performance week 1. It was the Dolphins in week 2 where it started off good and then they disappeared for a while in the game. And then towards the end of the game, they kind of regained a little momentum there. But I'm going to go the Steelers here, just being the more mature, hungry football team on the road and finding a way to beat them. And I think they're going to be able to move the ball on this Patriot defense. I'm going Steelers 28-24.
I've got 30-24. We almost had a bingo, bango, bongo right out of the gates. Now, I feel like the Steelers aren't quite in desperation mode, but it's kind of like this is a reestablisher game.
Yeah, I hear you there.
This is one where we got to wipe the last one away quickly. Aaron Rodgers spoke about that he doesn't want to be too binary, but a win will be nice this week. They need to get a win. He had the touchdown pass and 2 interceptions. They had that ridiculously stupid play by rookie Caleb Johnson where he let the ball stay live and the Seahawks picked up a cheap 7 points. Even though they're on the road, I think they need this one. They go to Dublin next week. They don't want to make that trip at 1-2 because their margin for error is going to get tight quickly. If they lose games they should win. Okay, Rams at the Eagles, the rematch of the divisional game that we attended last year in the snow. The Rams gave them everything they could handle. The Eagles are favored by 3.5. Both teams are undefeated, over under a 44.5. Chris, who do you got?
Yeah, this is an awesome game. I mean, this is one of the games of the day. I'm pumped for this one. That's for sure. Right now, I mean, the Rams defense, like you heard me say a little earlier, it's awesome. They're active and creative up front. Chris Shula got them locked in the back end. We've seen them play 2 offenses so far, and both offenses have been like, whoa, we can't get anything going. And the Rams offense, yeah, it's tough outing against the Texans, but they figure it out. Last week, tough against the Tennessee Titan defense that I still will sit here and tell you I think is better than people realize. They figured it out, and then, of course, it started to be big play after big play there late in the game, the third and fourth quarter. The Eagles, we know they're physically one of the most talented teams in football. Their defense is really damn good. I don't think it's playing quite to its potential yet, and the offense is the most frustrating part. I mean, the offense has more talent than anybody in the sport, and they're probably the most boring offense to watch for anybody. I mean, they're boring to watch on TV. They're boring to watch on film. They do nothing. They are so basic. It is crazy. So all the advantages they have with players, it doesn't really matter because they do nothing. So teams are like, hey, as long as we don't let AJ run a go route or a slant, we can kind of stop them. Oh, if we go to man-to-man, they're going to do pick crossers. You know, that's it. They have like 3 runs they do. They do nothing. It's underwhelming that way. It stinks because I just sometimes go, man, if they had a quarterback that would just be like, bring it on, more offense, let's do everything. Like they had Mahomes, Lamar, right, Burrow, any of those, Josh Allen, they would be unbeatable. You would never be able to beat the Eagles. Never. They'd be unfair to football. I'm going with the Rams. I think they're on a mission. They're going on the road. They're going to want vengeance from last year. They're playing better football right now. Yeah, the Eagles are 2-0, but they haven't played good in either game, really. I'm going Rams 24-21.
This one has an interesting subplot because Sean McVay, the coach of the Rams, was one of the people leading the charge against the tush push.
Yeah.
And the tush push is front and center this week, not because of the play itself, because the Eagles offensive linemen were getting a little bit of a head start. There's going to be extra focus on that. The Rams are going to be salty about it. The Eagles are going to be salty about it. I hope the Eagles just come out in a standard quarterback sneak. Just do that. Just come out in not a tush push and prove to everyone it doesn't matter. You want to take it away? Here's what you're going to get. We're still going to have an overwhelming quarterback sneak. I'm going to give the Eagles the edge. I was torn on this one, and I put down the score 26-22 before I looked at the spread, and I saw 3.5, and I thought, man, I didn't realize how close I was putting it. I didn't know if it was going to be a touchdown. I didn't know if it was 3 points. 3.5, I'm taking the Eagles to win. I'm taking the Eagles to cover, but this is one of those that, you know, we're going to be in the viewing room and we're going to be arguing with each other and there's going to be weird shit that happens. It's going to determine this one, but it's probably going to come down to a tush push. And maybe if the Rams are backed up against their own goal line, they'll just jump offside 15 times in a row and force the official to award a touchdown because that's the kind of spectacle that will fuel a vote to get rid of the tush push.
Yeah, don't do that. Do the tush push and throw it in their face and be like, yeah, it's still a thing. Deal with it. Again, we're seeing everybody in football try to do the tush push, and they can't do it. Only one team can because they know how to coach it, and they got the
Bengals
dudes.
did it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a ton of teams. There's been a ton of teams that have failed the last few weeks, and it's just not that easy. They're special at it. So this is a fun game now. I'm going to be pumped for this one.
Jets at the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay on a short week coming home from the victory they got. They are the first team in NFL history, or at least the first team since the merger, I believe. One of those two. You get all these different stats over the course of the week. It's hard to keep them straight. But they've won 2 games in a row with touchdowns in the final minute, both against Atlanta and then Monday night against Houston. The Jets don't have Justin Fields. Tyrod Taylor gets the start. The Bucs are favored by 7. They are very banged up. The over-under is 43.5. Who do you like?
Well, we know we're getting Tyrod Taylor, and in some ways, I look at it and think it might be a good thing for this matchup. I don't think the Jets are going to be able to run the ball on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're going to have to drop back and throw the ball. And from that standpoint, Tyrod Taylor's better at dropping back and throwing the ball than Justin Fields. He is. I mean, Justin Fields was not good last week. He was pitiful. It was pitiful. I mean, missing reads, missing easy throws. It doesn't get any worse than that, throwing the football. So from a spot where maybe you could take advantage of the Buccaneers, I don't think Justin Fields could have done that. I think, of course, now Tyrod Taylor can make things a little bit more interesting there. The thing that bothers me on the other side here, and we see that, I mean, Tampa Bay just grows offensive coordinators on trees, apparently. They just replace them and go, hey, we're good. We can make plays, right? I mean, they can run the ball, and then Baker's aggressive, and their pass game's aggressive. They have a great combination of how they attack you on the offensive side of the ball. They run it. They have one of the best screen games in the game. And then when they don't do run or screen, they're like, we're going to throw it for 30 yards right here. We're going to attack. That's tough to defend. And the Jets defense has been, equally disappointing. I don't get, and this bothers me, and you know it, we hired Aaron Glenn to coach the defense and run the defense. He was hired because he was an amazing defensive coordinator with the Detroit Lions. He becomes a head coach and goes, I'm not going to call the defense anymore. Steve Wilkes, you do what you want. I never understand that. I don't get it. I don't know why teams even let it happen. So, yeah, I'm a little disappointed with that. I'm going to go Bucs 28-20 in this one.
I've got 24-13 Tampa Bay. I just think at the end of the day, the Bucs are better, and the Bucs know that it's not enough to just win the division and exit in the wild card round. They have bigger plans. The injuries concern me, but Baker Mayfield is so freaking tough, and he's so good. And we talked earlier in the week on Tuesday, Devin and I, about how he's an incredible bargain. You rail on the guys making mid-50s that don't deserve it. This guy's making 33.
Yeah, this is the opposite.
He's the best dollar-for-dollar value on a veteran quarterback in the NFL right now.
Maybe the best dollar-for-dollar value of any player in football. I mean, it's seriously.
The Bucks are probably like, no, stop. But, yeah, at some point they got to take care of him. They guaranteed his salary for next year. At some point they need to increase his salary for next year and the year after and the year after that. It's amazing. He was a free agent twice. Yeah. 23 and 24. He had a 1-year contract with the Bucks, and they didn't apply the franchise tag. Anybody could have had him.
Yeah. No, because the league falls. So much of the league doesn't do their homework. They just listen and read, and he must not be good anymore. Sometimes people don't even watch film of people. They don't even watch. We signed this guy because he was good 4 years ago. We haven't really watched him the last year or so, but we just liked him 4 years ago. And there's more than that than you would like. That happens in the NFL with certain teams. I mean, I have those conversations all the time with certain people.
Dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things, and bad teams stay bad. And it wouldn't surprise me if bad teams do lazy shit like that and don't properly do their homework on all available players. Colts at the Titans. The Colts did their homework on Daniel Jones when he was available and was paid off so far. They're 2-0 with both games at home. They go on the road for the first time against a division rival that is 0-2, and it might be feeling a little desperado. 4.5 points is the spread with the Colts as the favorite. You have not yet picked the Colts to win this year. I have picked them to win both games.
Yeah.
Part of that gap. It's part of that deficit that you're in. Are you going to dig deeper this week? Are you going to pick the Colts again? Are you going to not pick the Colts again? Are you going to pick the Titans?
I'm picking the Colts, but you had a shamrock up your ass last week with that Colts game, all right? Just so you know, a shamrock up your ass, all right? I mean, yeah, and a horseshoe and a bunny rabbit and a whole bunch of other things. Apparently your ass is big. It can fit all of those up there. So, but either way.
What the would have
pulled a rabbit out of your hat or your ass, right? Either way, you know what I'm saying. Right? Or pull a rabbit out of the hat, right? I'm just putting it up somewhere else, all right?
I've seen a few magicians in my day. Yeah. I've never seen one pull a rabbit out of his ass.
Well, it's next level. I'm challenging all magicians out there to go next level. We've seen the hat trick. Go somewhere else, all right? But the Colts are one of my
Pete said I've been going to the wrong shows.
Yeah, you have been. The Colts are one of my favorite stories in the sport. Right? It's three guys that, like what you're talking about, are just shitting all over the stupid narratives from certain media, right? Shane Steichen, we should fire him. What? No, okay? Daniel Jones isn't good. No. Lou Anarumo's no good. No. Okay, yeah, they got to have help. Not everybody's God and Superman. I don't know what everybody thinks all the time. So I love the Colts. Yeah, Tennessee, I just have no faith in their offense right now. That's the big thing. I think they can be a pain in the ass with their defense, as you've heard me say. They gave the Rams some issues. They gave the Broncos some issues. But ultimately, there's just not enough there. I'm going Colts 24-13.
Okay. This is desperation.
Here's 0-2 desperation.
and look, they weren't embarrassed Week 1 at Denver.
No.
They kept it close and interesting against an elite team last week against the Rams. This is a division game. This is all bets are off. This is records don't matter. But you sprinkle in that extra little something of being the team that's 0-2. Cam Ward, that throw last week across the end zone was incredible.
It was.
Their defense is underrated. I think this is a little bit of a wake-up call for the Colts that – they played those games at home. The first week was very emotional with the honoring of Jim Irsay, and they destroyed an overmatched Dolphins team. And last week, maybe the Broncos aren't as good as we think. I just think that this one is more tightly packed than 2-0 and 0-2 would suggest. I've got the Tennessee Titans pulling the upset in this one, 17-16.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
The Raiders at the Commanders, the rematch of Super Bowl 18. Big rest disparity. You had the Raiders play in the late game Monday night. You had the Commanders play Thursday night. I don't know. I know they have a lot of things to consider when they set the schedule, but that seems unfair that you play the Raiders that late, 1 o'clock Eastern time into Tuesday morning, and they're going to play 10 o'clock Eastern time Sunday morning against a team that had 3 extra days to rest and prepare. Jaden Daniels needs all the rest he can get. He apparently won't practice until Friday at the earliest. We have no idea if he's going to play. I have a feeling he'll be out there. He may not be the same guy, but I think he'll be out there. Commanders are favored by 3, over under a 44.5. Who you got?
Yeah, I like the Commanders here, but I'm nervous about it a little bit. I mean, one, the Jaden Daniels thing, sure. I mean, but also I go, Marcus Mariota fits in this offense. So I don't think it's like going to be like, oh, they drop off the planet here if Jaden Daniels can't play and play at a high level. So I'm not going to give that a huge difference. I think Washington is better. What scares me is this a little bit. I mean, one, I do think the Raiders' defense is good. They're well coached. We've seen it. They gave the Chargers, problems. They gave the Patriots problems. And so far with the Washington offense, nothing attacking downfield. That kind of scares me a little bit too. That plays into the Raiders' hands. But also, what also scares me is Washington, are they going to just play like man-to-man single safety and let up big passing plays against Geno Smith and company here all game long? I'm still going to go the Commanders winning this one. I'm going to go 21-17. I was right on the line at 2017. I'm going to give them the cover here.
I got 24-17, so we're a field goal away from a bingo, bango, bongo. I just think that, again, that rest and travel. I mean, think about that. You're playing in Las Vegas until 1 o'clock Eastern time Tuesday morning. You're traveling across the country to play the Commanders who played the prior Thursday night. That's a real factor. From preparation to rest to everything, it's an advantage for the Commanders that maybe balances out the advantage Tom Brady had by working the Commanders' Week 1 game against the New York Giants. I've got 24-17 Commanders. Those are the early games. When we return, the late afternoon games, including big matchups in the AFC and NFC West. That's next on the Joint Mega Picks podcast. Chris Simms Unbuttoned and PFT PM. Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFT PM, Joint Mega Picks podcast. Late afternoon Sunday, the Broncos at the Chargers. Ooh, the Broncos 1-1 should be 2-0. The Chargers 2-0 with wins over the Chiefs and the Raiders. What a way to start the season. 3 divisional games.
Seriously.
For the Los Angeles Chargers. They are at home for the first time, although Week 1 was technically a home game. 2.5-point favorites, 45.5 over under. 89% of the spread money is on the Los Angeles Chargers. Are you?
I like the Chargers. I do. I'm going to go with the Chargers here. But I don't know, covering the spread and all that. No, I think it's going to be tight here. The Chargers, I like their offense. I think we're seeing a different Justin Herbert. You're seeing he's willing to get out of the pocket, make some backyard plays. He's on his game. I like the offensive approach as a whole altogether. The Broncos, if there's one thing you can look at on their defense and go, ooh, they're a little weak here, they're not overly big up front. We know the Chargers are big. I think they're going to be able to run the ball on them a little bit. I'm a little more worried, I think, about the Denver offense. The Denver offense hasn't really got their run game going other than a few big runs here and there, but not consistent, like just opening up holes and going that way. Nobody has really been able to run on the Chargers yet, and if you have to rely to throw against the Chargers arguably have the most creative secondary and game plan and how they coach it back there with Jesse Minter in all of the sport. I have a man crush on how they coach their coverages in the back end there. I'm going to go the Chargers here, but not cover the spread. I'm going to go 23-21.
It's so tight. I mean, for a 2.5-point spread, like, it's a field goal.
Yeah.
And that's what I looked at. I said it's a field goal. And I almost went 23-20. I'm still going 23-17 Chargers. The run game, keep an eye on the division of labor between Amarian Hampton and Najee Harris. I noticed a lot more of 22 than I did of the rookie after he fumbled. And Hampton has been a disappointment relative to what some thought he was going to be this year.
Right.
He has not been nearly as good as projected, and Harris is healthy, and it may be that they just decide that Harris is going to be the guy unless and until he gets injured, and then Hampton will be the backup. So watch that very carefully, and that may help the run game because, Harris is good for those reliable yards between the tackles, though he doesn't have the burst.
Neither one of
that
these
others
first-round running backs has looked very good so far. So they're having a problem adjusting. We'll see where it goes. But you're right. I think he got in the doghouse once he fumbled.
Hey, what a shock. We had a couple of star running backs last year, and some owner somewhere said, ooh, I got an idea. Let's draft a running back high in the draft. And it's a hard projection, I know. But still, you're right. Both of them haven't been good. Saints at the Seahawks. Seahawks favored by 7. Over under of 41.5. Saints leave the Dome for the first time. It hasn't worked out well in the Dome. How will it work out in Seattle?
Well, it's a tough place to play, and I feel like Seattle's got their feet underneath them now. And they played well on the offensive side of the ball. We're seeing inklings of the run game get going, so I like that. Right? We saw Cooper Kupp get involved in the passing game and other people other than Jackson Smith and Jigma. And I just think ultimately, too, up there in Seattle with that defense, their front, Spencer Rattler's done some good things. It hasn't been bad. They're just not a great overall football team that way. I think they're going to have a hard time moving the ball here. I'm going Seahawks 27-14.
I got 30-20 Seahawks in this one. And, yeah, I feel like the Seahawks are starting to move in the right direction. They could have beaten the 49ers week 1. They got the big win in Pittsburgh. That changes my perception of them. I think they get to 2-1. Cowboys at the Bears. Cowboys favored by 1.5 on the road at Soldier Field. Tom Brady will be on the call 1 week before the Raiders host the Bears, but pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. We'll be paying attention to the field. Who do you like?
This is going to be a fun game, I think. Both defenses let up some big plays, right? We know Dallas can push the ball down the field with those two receivers. They've looked good on the offensive side of the ball. Took them a little while to get going last week. We also seen the Cowboys defense, they let up big plays. They're not playing real well. They're stopping the run, though, with Kenny Clark, let me tell you, okay? Yeah, way to go, guys. But they don't stop shit else. So I worry about that aspect right there. It is a little bit of a desperation game for the Bears. I think I'm playing the angle here of what you're saying. Bears desperate, bad Cowboys defense. They're going to feel a little misled and good about themselves because they won that crazy game against the Giants last week. I think Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams are going to have something for them here. And, I'm going to go with the upset here at 31-28. High-scoring, fun game. Bears win.
Wow. I probably would have gone the same way, but, man, Ben Johnson is having a hard time getting his sea legs as a head coach. And some of the stuff he said this week, Jason Garrett was great on PFT Live about this. There's a certain amount of authenticity that you want, but there's a certain way to go about being authentic and complete. And some things you don't want to be candid about. You don't want to be calling out your team publicly. There are ways to do that, avenues to do that. He said a lot yesterday, and I don't know that that's going to work. I just don't. And the Cowboys are feeling good. That celebration in the locker room, that could be the kick in the ass they need. They're going to have to do it with offense. It's not like they're the 85 Bears.
No, right.
They clearly are missing Micah Parsons. I agree with you. It's going to be a high-scoring game. And you know what? I wrote down 27-24 and thought it's probably going to be higher scoring than that, but fine. And now I see the over-under is 50.5. I rarely do an over-under best bet, but it's at least in the top 5 potential selections, the over in that game.
Yeah, I hear you. I think it's interesting. I mean, neither team has been able. This is two of the worst defenses in football. So that's where you look at it. And the Cowboys have been gashed in all areas. Run game, pass game, it doesn't really matter. Bears, a little bit better in the pass, but gashed in the run game. And I don't think Dallas is that good at running the ball to take advantage of it all the way. That's why I'm going to lean Bears here a little bit.
All right, primetime games up next, including the Chiefs trying to avoid an 0-3 hole. And, after...
Wait, hold on. Don't skip the 49ers.
I missed a game.
49ers.
Did I miss a game?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I missed a game.
Damn.
Oh, well, me.
Yep.
All right. Cardinals at the 49ers. Strike that from the tape. The 49ers are 2-0. The Cardinals are 2-0. Something's got to give. It's the opposite of desperation. They're both on house money, 44.5. Kyle Shanahan hasn't ruled out Brock Purdy for the game. Who knows? I think you're the one that said that toe's going to heal quickly once Mac Jones goes out there and starts winning games.
Right.
Who wins this one? Cardinals, 49ers. Again, 49ers favored by 2.5.
Who needs Dr. Needle when the backup starts looking good? And it's the imaginary Dr. Needle starts making you play. The adrenaline, like, oh, shit, he kind of looks like he's executing the offense.
Let's check this toe.
Yeah, wait, I'm feeling pretty good,
Let's
Coach.
Check
I think
your toe,
I can get
Brock.
out there again.
Yeah, wait, let's check that toe.
I don't want to see Mac Jones do all the things that I can do and execute this offense. I'm going to go with the 49ers. I think this is a close game, though. I do. Arizona's a tough football team. I guess there's an aspect of me that still wonders, how explosive they can be on the offensive side of the ball. They're tough. They're patient with the run. The pass game is a little bit still to this point, right? They're dangerous that way. I think the 49ers are feeling themselves, and the 49ers defense is the real deal Holyfield right now. I'm going to go 49ers 19-14.
I got 49ers 24-20, so we're on the same page with that one. The Cardinals, hey, I respect the fact that they won both of their games, but it's the Saints and it's the Panthers. I got people so pissed at the power rankings. Cardinals fans, why aren't they higher? You win this one, you're going to be higher. You win it, you earn your spot in the power rankings on the field. You don't earn a top 20 spot by beating the Saints and the Panthers. Okay. Now I can do the tease I was starting to do. And as I was saying before I so stupidly overlooked the game, we're going to do the primetime games next, including the Chiefs, trying to avoid an 0-3 hole. And my point is, now when I see the word hole, given the conversations of this week, I think of Jerry Jones.
I want me some glory hole.
We'll be back. We'll be back.
DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, and $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV. Damn, that's a deal. Just download the Sportsbook app and use promo code UNBUTTONED when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
Sunday Night Football, the Kansas City Chiefs are at MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Giants. 45.5 is the over-under. Chiefs are favored by 6. 80% of the spread money is on Kansas City. It's desperado time for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, the Giants, they had a game where they looked good, Russell Wilson vintage, and lost it in overtime. But boy, if the Chiefs lose this one and fall to 0-3, they're going to have a major problem. This feels like must-win for the Chiefs, and they are good enough to win it. If they can't beat the Giants, their problems run far deeper than even the most pessimistic Chiefs fan would think.
How dare you disrespect my Giants, man. Hey, slow your roll down over there, all right? Only I can talk negative about them. How dare you talk like that? Like it's just a get back on track game. I like the Chiefs in this one. I definitely do. There's no doubt. But, I mean, barely as far as the spread's concerned. I don't think the Chiefs are just going to, take off on offense this week. That's not going to happen. The Giants' front is still going to be a problem. They're not going to be able to run the ball. My biggest problem with the Giants that I'm annoyed with right now is that our front four can't get to the quarterback. We got 4 top 20 picks, and we can't get to the quarterback unless we blitz or do something like that. That's insane. We got 2 top 5 picks. We got Brian Burns, who's in the top 15, and Dexter Lawrence in the top 20, and we rush 4. We don't get by the quarterback. It's incredible. And so that bothers me. But this hopefully can be a game they can do that, because if they got to blitz and do all that, then Mahomes is going to pick them apart. But either way, I think the Giants make some plays, but I'm going the Chiefs 24-17.
I got 34-17 Kansas City Chiefs. I just feel like this is one of those games where they turn back the clock a little bit. They get some things right. They know they have to. They're hearing some of the noise. That'll give them some motivation. I think they pull this off, especially because it's an inferior opponent. All right, Monday Night Football. Ooh. Hell of a game.
Ooh.
Hell of a game.
What a game.
The Detroit Lions at the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Lions went there a couple of years ago and got
shellacked
badly by Baltimore.
38-6, something like
Baltimore
that.
got there. Yeah. Baltimore got their win last week as they needed. They didn't get upset at home in week 2 like they had last year by the Raiders. Big win over the Cleveland Browns. Not as easy against the Detroit Lions. Favored by 4.5, Baltimore is, with an over-under of 53.5. That's the highest of the week. Who do you have?
I like the Ravens. I think they match up well with the Detroit Lions. Right, I think they're one of the few teams in football that can match up with them and feel good. Like, hey, we're not going to get overpowered in the run game. We do some creative things on the back end that can give the pass game issues. And then with the Lions and how they play defense on that side of the ball too, hey, they can be aggressive, certainly. And this is just not the team you want to be aggressive against. I think this is a game where, yeah, you can be aggressive. You try to blitz Lamar to maybe get him to throw the ball quick or contain him in the pass rush, but that could lead to huge plays down the football field. Also, we know Baltimore can run the football really well. Detroit is not a team that I think can play man-to-man and go, we'll load the box to stop Derrick Henry like Cleveland did last week. They're a little different that way. I don't think they're going to be able to live in man-to-man against Baltimore. I'm going Ravens 34-24.
I've got 30-27 Ravens. Hopefully it'll be a close game down to the wire. I just feel like Baltimore at home, especially after being in that classic game against the Buffalo Bills and losing it, they'll be on guard.
They're going to be ready,
whatever could happen that would cause a breakdown late. Yep. They'll be ready to go. And they have a history of doing well against the Lions at home, and it wasn't all that long ago with a lot of the same coaches and a lot of the same players. So that's where I am going, and we are going to break. When we return, best bets and Folsom Prison Blues pick time on Chris Simms Unbuttoned and PFT PM. All right, we're back. Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFT PM. We have 4 disagreements this week. That's the fewest so far this season. No, wait, that's tied for the fewest in only 3 weeks. 7 disagreements against the spread. We're each picking 2 upsets. All right, best bets time. 3 each. Christopher, you're up.
I'm going to go the Rams first. The Rams are getting 3.5 points. I think they're going to win the football game. If they lose the game, I think it's going to be by a field goal, 2 points, whatever. I think they're playing better football right now than the Eagles, who are going to be flying high after winning the Chiefs game last week. I'm going to go the Rams as one of my best bets.
I feel like I'm the guy that's sitting at the poker machine and he's feeding the money in and he knows eventually it's going to pay off. I've lost with the Steelers week 1, week 2. I'm taking the Steelers this week, giving New England 1.5.
Okay, all right. I don't disagree with you there, right? I don't have the guts to do that one, but I can totally see what you're saying here. I'm going to go with the Colts as my next one. Just don't know if I believe that the Tennessee Titans got enough offense on that side of the ball. And to me, the Titans can be really aggressive on defense, and I think that plays into the Colts' hands here. The Colts got a 4.5-point spread, and I got the Colts winning by 11 points. I'm going to ride with them.
I would sing the Titans fight song if I knew what it was and or if they had one. Okay, Commandos. I'm going Commando. They're going to win by more than 3 points against the Raiders on Sunday.
Okay, all right. I like that. I'm going to Monday Night Football. I think the Ravens are going to be ready to freaking go, and I'm going to take them to win this football game 34-24. Best bet. They are, what, a 4.5 points favorite? I think they cover it.
I'm doing the over. I do it like once a year, over or under. I'm going over in the Dallas at Chicago game, 50.5. The Lions scored 52 last week against Chicago. So I think there's not going to be much defense in that game. Folsom Prison Blues, who you got?
Bills over Dolphins.
Are you both on the
Bills
Bills?
over Dolphins.
How can you not be on the Bills?
Right.
Watch, the Dolphins are going to win. And the Dolphins season will turn around and they'll go to the Super Bowl. Probably not. See you next time. Enjoy the games. Bet responsibly.
Yo, homies, it's time to watch some games. That's right. We're on to the NFL season here with Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, Sunday night recaps after every game, and much, much more.
Thanks for watching. Peace out, homies. Remember, subscribe. Peace out.